Hey, fifth grade. Today for reading workshop, we're actually completing day 2 of our activities in our slide deck for Malala the Powerful. So yesterday we did our preview activities. We looked at the essential questions and we discussed those. And then we also did the anticipation guide where we viewed some statements and we decided whether we agreed with those statements or whether we did not. Then you were to go ahead and click on the link in the slide deck and listen to and read the selection Malala the Powerful. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the slide deck and I'll just quickly take you through those slides. So in class, we discussed these questions and why we're reading this piece and what it makes us think about. Then we went through this anticipation guide and we did agree, disagree. You just drug that check mark over to where you felt like it fit. And of course, I always allow you to go somewhere in between as long as you can explain yourself. So hopefully you're doing that. Even if you're not here in class, you're having that conversation with yourself and you're justifying why you feel that way. That's what we did in class. I would read the statement and then we would talk about who disagreed and who agreed and why they agreed or disagreed. Then we went to this slide and we clicked here. And then it took us to the article and there were links. I'm going to move over here. There were links for you to click on to hear the story read aloud as you read through it. So then that brings us to day 2. Now I'm going to leave that link open because good readers always go back into the story to answer questions, and that's what our activity is today, is to go through our close reading questions and to answer them. So I'm going to walk you through that, but I'm also going to encourage you that when you go back in, that you have the selection open and you can look for your answers there. That's how you know that you're giving a correct response. If you can find evidence in the text that supports your answer, it's kind of like a self-check kind of thing. So here we go. Question 1 says, read closely. And I'm going to go ahead and give you these answers because when we do this together in class, that's the whole point of this, is to discuss these things together, not necessarily to get an answer in that text box. Now, obviously, if you're not in class and you're not here for the discussion, then I want to make sure that you do comprehend and understand what you've read. And so what you put in that text box tells me what you know and understand. Hopefully, also, me going through these answers with you will give you some idea of some of the things that would have likely come up in our class discussion. So question 1 says, why was Malala Yousafzai targeted by a terrorist group? The answer is that the Taliban targeted Malala because she was a leader in the fight for girls' education in Pakistan, which the Taliban opposes. They viewed her as someone who was threatening their way of life and tried to assassinate her, sending a warning to other girls not to follow Malala's example. Question 2. How did life in the Swat Valley change for Malala after 2007, and why did it change? So the answer to that, and again, all of this evidence, all of these answers are found in the story itself, in the article. The answer is that prior to 2007, Malala's life was one she felt lucky to have. She lived in the beautiful Swat Valley, a popular vacation spot. She also attended school, an opportunity available to few girls in Pakistan. But after the Taliban gained power there, Malala was surrounded by unimaginable violence, and her school was ordered to close. Her father chose to keep her school open. To stay alive, Malala had to keep her education a secret. Eventually, she and nearly 1 million other refugees had to evacuate Swat. So then we go on to question 3. Why did Malala use a pseudonym, which is an abbreviation, in her BBC blog? A pseudonym. Actually, a pseudonym is not an abbreviation, it's a fake name. So authors sometimes write under that. So like Lemony Snicket is not really a person's name, it's their pseudonym. A lot of people do that for lots of different reasons. So they're asking in her BBC blog, why did she use a pseudonym? Why didn't she write under her real name? And what does the fact that she was willing to take the risk of writing the blog reveal about her as a person? So our answer is Malala used a pseudonym to help protect her identity. Writing about life under the Taliban and advocating for her equality in education could have cost her her life. That she took the risk of writing the blog shows that she is courageous and determined to stand up to injustice. And then question 4 says, while Malala was in the hospital, protesters in Pakistan marched with signs that read, I am Malala. What is the significance of these particular words and what message do they send? So the answer to that is that the words I am Malala reflect the fact that Malala is one person who became a powerful symbol for many. When the Taliban gunmen entered the bus with the intent to assassinate Malala, they demanded, who is Malala? The protesters' signs were the answers to that question and a message that we are not afraid. You cannot silence us. On another level, proclaiming I am Malala sent a powerful message to the Pakistani government and to the world. I, too, am a girl who deserves an education. When we look at question 5, we see the question, how does Malala use her voice and what message does she share? And again, you can, if you think back to the essential questions, what does using your voice mean? The discussion in the classroom was that you use it to speak out against things that are not right. You defend those who can't defend themselves, or you speak out about things that are not right. So how does Malala use her voice and what message does she share? The answer that I was looking for here was that Malala shares the message that all children of the world deserve an education. She has spread this message through her blog, a documentary film, appearances on TV shows, and speeches to children in Pakistan. Today, she continues to give speeches and meet with leaders around the world. She has started the Malala Fund, which aims to provide education to children around the world, and she also shares her story through a memoir. That's a book. It's a nonfiction book. It's not her life story. It is her recording her memories from a specific time period in her life. Question 6 says, how does the poem In Darkest Hours connect to Malala's story? Your answer does not need to be exactly like mine, but I was looking for something along these lines. Rebecca Kai Dultlich's poem expresses the idea that when faced with difficulty, some people endure the hardship and wait for it to end, while others take action to improve the situation and escape from the darkness. This idea connects to Malala's story in that she is someone who chooses to carry mountains on their back in the darkest night. Her fight for equality and education took courage and nearly cost her her life. But she has inspired great change. In Dotlich's word, she blazes with light. All right, guys, that's it for today's activities. Please make sure that you go back and you look into the article for your answers, and then think about what you heard in this video. Hopefully that will substitute for your class discussion. It's not a great substitute. It's kind of our only option at this point. I love and miss you guys. I hope you're enjoying this article. It's very powerful, and it just goes to show you that ordinary people can make an extraordinary difference. So let me know if you need help with this, guys. Remember not to turn it in. This won't be due until Thursday, until we're done with all of all of the activities. Okay, make sure you're reading instructions. Make sure you're keeping up with that. Love you guys and miss you.